That's such a rip, dude.
He's back. You're
What's up,
back.
everyone?
Okay, no, I am. Now I'm in the parking lot. Now I'm in the parking lot. I'm pulling into a spot currently.
You wait. You're still
But okay,
driving?
okay. Now I'm not. I parked. Now I was in the parking lot. Come on.
Okay. Okay. Turn off the Bluetooth on your phone so we can hear you through your phone's mic. Let's have a conversation. Tell us why you support Trump.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Yeah. Why do you support
Okay.
Trump?
I guess my biggest issue is I can give a direct story. I'm not going to lie. I'm not exactly ready to have it. I don't have sources or anything, but I've got kind of two things that I wanted to talk about. First one is I know you were talking about Snap earlier. And I guess with the whole EBT and stuff, it kind of bothers me is I feel like it's not regulated enough. Like I can give a direct story. I used to work at a Speedway a little bit ago, and it was like I had a lady yell at me one time because I wouldn't sell her backwoods with her EBT. But I'm not even joking. That's a true story. But like I constantly was seeing people just buy dog shit. It's like people. I know we're talking about healthy food. I don't think people want healthy food. That's not actually what people want. People would get their EBT and walk in, and I'd be cashing them out for hundreds of dollars worth of chips and shit. And like I don't when people have unregulated free money, that's what they do. Like even I had an older cousin actually that much older than me. I guess it used to be an issue with the EBT. He found out how he was able to get a card when he went in college. So I mean free money. He used to just buy shit and then it would free up more money for beer or whatever. And I feel like it needs to be more regulated because I think we'd save a lot more money. It would go to a lot more like people who really need it if it was being regulated
I
for the
would.
people that
I would be okay with more regulation on EBT if A, we were able to make healthy foods more affordable than non-healthy foods. B, we eliminated the existence of food deserts. And C, we advocated for more education about, what healthy foods are good for you, and, kind of like how to, like, I don't know, properly grocery shop. I feel like that is actually a really important skill that nobody ever talks about, not in school, not in any professional environment, not in any like government resources. And I mean, I've like personally really struggled with figuring out how to grocery shop. So I feel like if we had systems that kind of taught people how to shop for food, I know it sounds like crazy, but I actually think that would be so beneficial.
No, I agree.
And then made healthy foods more affordable than non-healthy foods and eliminated food deserts. I would totally be fine with regulating EBT more, like 110%.
So I'm into the gym actually, and I feel like a lot of the time, okay, I eat a lot of meat, I eat a lot of chicken, and I'm sure you've seen about like animal cruelty, all the stuff like that. And I do agree that it is pretty cruel, some processes, but I hope that would be the only way to make lots of foods cheaper. That's the way that it would happen. I feel because like I think honestly, chicken's really not even that expensive right now if you look at that. I really well, like when I'm up at college, for example, I can't afford to be buying the most expensive food. I'm not going out and buying 97.3 lean beef every single time I go shopping, but I still make a lot of very, very good healthy meals with chicken, some frozen vegetables, and minute rice. Like I feel like there's lots of people that don't realize that it's not that difficult to eat healthy on a budget. And but then at the exact same time, there's so many people that I'll still argue this.
I think what makes eating healthy difficult on a budget is going to be like particular dietary restrictions. Like, sure, you could definitely eat healthy on a budget if all you eat is chicken, beans, and rice. Okay, I've done that before too. That is a way to eat healthy on a budget. Not everybody can eat chicken, beans, and rice. And B, having access to the means that are required in order to cook chicken, make beans, or rice, and C, it kind of took me a while to like find that conclusion. Like the education that it required in order to know that I get all my micros and macros from chicken, beans, and rice, and I'm able to hit my protein goals was, like a little bit more like extensive research on like nutritionalism and education on like how to like form like a healthy diet on a budget. I had to seek that one out. And then also, I mean, there's plenty of places where food deserts exist. Like if I wanted the cheap chicken when I was living up in like the Denver area, for instance, I had to drive 45 minutes away to a Costco, right? And that's just simply unattainable for so many people. And then another big aspect is time too. It's really difficult to find time to cook and eat healthy. That's even something that I struggle with. I've condensed myself down to literal microwave meals every morning for breakfast, even though I could definitely afford healthier food if I wanted to, which I'm incredibly privileged and blessed to be in that position, simply because of time.
I think that the biggest
Also, like, why do their diets need to be like controlled in that type of way? That would be my position, right? Like, I honestly, the point of these programs is to ensure that people can survive, right?
you're asking why it needs to be controlled because
Yeah,
I
why does it have to be
literally
controlled in that degree? If
watched-
someone wants to buy chips, let them buy chips.
I've watched someone walk into my gas station before, I guess when I used to work there, and blow $200 worth of EVT on gummies, Doritos, and dog shit. Like it's like nothing.
I'm sorry. I don't really. How much did they buy? $200.
I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. Like
$200. How much was it?
I think that there's a
could.
good. I think that there's a good median. There's a good medium here. If people want to buy chips, buy fucking chips. But like at the same time, like I do agree. You know, like if we like have some level of like benevolent influence to like make people like live longer and live healthier lives by like influencing like particular levels of control within SNAP, when like paired with a bunch of other reform that I kind of already laid out earlier, I'm fine with it. I don't think it's as like black and white though. It's not either like super precise control where you're not even allowing people to buy chips or allowing people to like spend $200 on Doritos and then go without dinner for the rest of the week and they only have chips. You know, I think that there's a good in between of like access to like certain foods in certain areas while cracking down on food deserts, and in areas with food deserts, taking off those controls and informing people on how to eat healthier and making healthier foods more like more affordable. I think that that's probably going to be the best take from my perspective, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you also want to know my big real decider on why I choose Trump. And that's going, I mean, that's not the food thing. Everyone says that they want everyone to be healthy. They just have different means of getting there and they disagree on that. My biggest thing is I hate the transitioning of children. That is the biggest thing. Like, I know that's a giant turn, really, really big turn. And I know that, but it drives me insane. Just the fact that I know some children are genuinely receiving hormone replacement therapy. And I think that is just extremely wrong. And I'd like to hear your like real opinion. I don't really want to make some huge argument yet, but I really want to hear your opinion on that.
Oh shit! I'm not gonna lie. I was not interesting because I was expected to. I was expecting Parker to give a response, but now I'm looking down at Parker and he's gone. Repeat what you just said. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm sure you want to know the biggest reason. I was gonna say, wait, when did you stop listening? What did you hear? What did you hear?
I stopped listening when you started speaking. I'm sorry. I've just
Okay, no,
I
you're
took, like,
completely good.
Wait, actually, I kind of want to go back to that last debate about EBT. I'm thinking about it more. I don't know. I might actually agree with Parker. Instead of like controlling what foods people have access to, what if we just like gave them the incentive to buy healthier foods by ensuring that healthier foods were the more affordable options? Like we just influence that through like incentive-based structures instead of like force-based structures.
Yeah, I think like incentive-based structures, educational resources, things like that are like better. I mean, obviously there could be certain circumstances where someone has spent all their money on things that were not nutritional and then they don't have enough nutritional stuff for the week. Right. Obviously in that circumstance that we'd think that's like not intuitive, but like, I mean, I don't think that's happening in most circumstances. So in terms of like legal policy, I think it's a lot better to do like incentives and pushing people towards like doing more healthy options rather than like having like forced restrictions, especially because like you can have unforeseen consequences in terms of that, especially when it comes to food deserts that like you just can't take into account when you're like establishing that policy.
By the way,
Okay, I guess you're saying you're for it you're saying you're for it if we make healthy food the more affordable options, but it's not for a reason. It's really not for a reason. I'm sure you see it like. I'm sure you're against animal cruelty. How do we do that without animal cruelty? It's just not possible. We either put the like.
What if we like subsidized like healthy food producers? Like we incentivize corporations to produce healthier foods for cheaper through subsidies. Like I don't know. That sounds like an all right plan to me. And if you're like, well, where's that money going to come from? Fuck it, the DoD budget. Like, I would rather, you know, like starving families in America have access to really affordable, healthy food compared to like an additional like truckload of bombs that cost like $3 million. Like, you know?
I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think businesses are going to go for that because it's just not the moneymaker. It's not the like, it's not.
The subsidy would be.
Say it again.
The subsidy would be the moneymaker. The subsidies are cash money.
I honestly have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, like
You know what a subsidy is?
Go ahead.
No.
Yeah, so it's just like essentially we're going to put like governmental investment into a certain industry to lower the cost of the good for the consumer.
Okay, so don't we already have enough money going many places though?
Yeah, sure. Like, but we're just saying that like we have a lot right now going towards, you know, businesses that don't engage in the most healthy practices, and he's probably saying that we should take some from those and put it into, you know, like healthier practices for food. Like that would be better. Like all the things that, you know, Trump and them have brought up, and RFK and whatnot brought up for like making America healthier are all ridiculous. This country is going to be made less healthy with their policy. You actually need to base it in science.
I mean, I
right?
think the
And
food
evidence
dyes,
and fact
I
and
think the
critical
food
thought.
dyes are a good start. Like, I mean, for example, Red Bull. Why is food dye in there to make it more appealing? That's literally it. Like, and
Do you want to get rid of all
already
food
has
dyes?
been proven. Lots of food dyes. I mean, for one, they're pointless. They're only a marketing strategy. That's the number one thing that they're used for to gain the attention of children. And on top of that, they can worsen things like ADHD. That's been
It
proven.
depends on which ones you're referencing. Which ones are you referencing? And also, like, are you saying that, like, oh, because these are, like, banned in other places, it should also be banned here? Is that your position? Or are you saying anything that is considered to be not healthy to any degree should be banned?
I kind of like my Mountain Dew to be sparkling green. I won't lie.
Anything that has no purpose that could cause. Okay, I mean, obviously.
What do you mean that has no
You're, like,
purpose?
joking
In a
when
certain
you say
sense,
you like it being sparkly green. Obviously, you like it being sparkly green, but what's the point?
okay, well, that's aesthetic for him. That's why he likes it.
I won't lie. I'd be down with taking food colorings out of like Red Bull. I mean, any way to
It's
make
like
them,
me saying I want to walk down the
any
street
way
smoking
to make
cigarette
the
and
Red
makes me
Bull a
look
little
cool.
healthier, I'm down with. If the food coloring isn't doing anything to the Red Bull, and there's like demonstrable evidence to demonstrate that it can like lead to worsening impacts or effects on individuals with like ADD, ADHD. I'm fine with that, you know. How does this kind of
But
relate?
you also have to be specific with the evidence, because oftentimes people will just apply this in a general sense without looking at any of the data or evidence.
Well, my point. The only reason I brought up
that's why I give pushback on these particular points is because a lot of these particular claims are things that are not banned in other countries around the world. They're just under specific different names. Like, for example, Red 40 is under E129, right, in other countries around the world, and it's considered legal, right? Yet people specifically are trying to say it's banned in other countries, right? Oh my gosh, it should be banned here, right? But we have to look at like the overall data. We have to look at the evidence. If there's demonstrable evidence indicating that something is not healthy and is harmful towards people and provides no positive impact, obviously all of us are going to support that. But there's a lot of people that go on the internet and spread misinformation about health-oriented things like positions and stuff like that. It often muddies the water for what we believe in terms of health science. So you got to make sure that you're looking into things that actually do have evidence to indicate that they're not healthy before you just make general claims like that.
I mean, again, the only reason I brought up the dyes and stuff was because, I mean, that's really just the first thing basically that RFK did, and you kind of just did say like the whole RFK thing is bullshit. So
Oh,
Yeah, he doesn't believe in science.
Our RFK, listen, like even if like he's able to produce like some good outcome, it's not like by proxy of an intelligent man. It's like you know, a broken clock is right twice a day. Like RFK is like a fucking like delusional, like insane person. He's kind of always been that way too. I mean, I've personally met with, you know, families of the families that are friends with akin to these, and I mean they've told me stories about how he's always been like fucking insane and not a good guy and terrible to those around them, and how like badly he hurt and led one of his ex-wives to, I mean, self-unaliving. And outside of that, even as it applies to his like role as a government official, you know, he's straight up said not to take any like medical advice from him. He's like reinstituting like very harmful you know, bits of misinformation, such as the idea that vaccines can cause autism, And he's just kind of opened the door to a new wave of more anti-intellectualism in this country. And that's something that I think is so incredibly harmful.
I think lots of people have done stuff. I'm not educated enough on RFK to argue this, but I just like there is lots of things I guess about Trump that are not good. There is proof that he has done things that are not good, but then on top of that, there is also proof that he has done things that are good.
Like what?
Yeah, that was the next topic I was gonna talk about. Hormone replacement therapy in children bothers me a lot. That's another thing. That was what you asked me to repeat earlier. Hormone replacement therapy in children bothers me a lot. And I actually kind of want to know your stance on that.
Does that bother you more than Donald Trump saying you would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, bragging about walking in the changing rooms of girls in Miss USA because he quote-unquote owns the place to inspect them without their consent, his relation with Epstein, saying that he's a terrific guy, he likes beautiful women as much as he does, many of them on the younger side, plus, right, something new that Donald Trump just admitted to, that specifically he knew about Epstein, right, going after people that were working within his businesses, actually a 17-year-old who was working at the time, who was working as a masseuse at Mar-a-Lago for Donald Trump, that Epstein specifically, right, Epstein abused, right, and actually like literally was like trying to get them to understand, or I mean to do like private, like sexual, like sort of masseuse sort of things, like with Ghislaine Maxwell. That's actually something that's been widely reported on, and she was one of like the main witnesses within this. And Donald Trump said he thinks that she was one of the people that Jeffrey Epstein, right, specifically went after. And apparently now he's only telling us this information. Why, after so many years, is it the case that he's only now telling us this information when he knew evidence, assaulted, trafficked, right, by Jeffrey Epstein, someone who he was really close with for 15 years?
I followed about half of that. All the Epstein shit with Trump is very, very new, and I have not seen it. But the only thing I have seen about that so far was him saying on TV sarcastically that he didn't have the privilege of being on Epstein's island as a joke. And
wait, can you respond to what I just said?
Which thing? You said a lot. You said many different things. I'm asking what you want me to respond to. I didn't interrupt you the whole time, so I was waiting.
What did I last just say?
Repeat it.
Okay, so I was referencing to the fact that Donald Trump, right, he had information to know that someone who was working for him, who was a 17-year-old masseuse at that particular time, right, was that Jeffrey Epstein, right, specifically went after her, right, to literally then be part of trafficking her, because it is the case that this story came out about her being trafficked and she talked about this, and only now has Donald Trump told us information that is related to that, indicating specifically that he knew that she was working for him and that Jeffrey Epstein, right, specifically had some sort of relation to, right, her being trafficked, right, and right, literally like forced to do like plenty of things in terms of being a private masseuse and doing sexual acts. It's actually disgusting. I think you should read into it, because it's recently something that
absolutely nothing about that, but doesn't have a lot to do with replacement therapy.
Amir,
yeah, because I'm saying if you care about right, girls, if you care about people who are younger, right, that would mean you'd care about all of these different things. And to say you specifically have such an issue with people who are younger, right, going through specific types of plenty of regulations, right, and right, working with medical professionals and their parents to be able to get access to HRT after multiple years of being in the process, right, comparative to all of these different types of things that are actually a harm to minors.
Again, of course I would be against that, but I just simply have never seen it and don't know if it's true or not. And how can you say, what do you mean actually a harm to minors? You don't think injecting testosterone into somebody that's underage?
I think that people who are like 16 plus after multiple years of going through the process with medical health professionals and their parents can absolutely get access to HRT.
I think you're totally wrong.
And you have an issue with that? What's the issue?
I 100% have an issue with that.
Okay, so medical professionals indicate this is the best route. Who are you to say that the medical professionals in that circumstance are wrong?
Because I was fucking stupid when I was 16. I had lots of things that I thought when I was 16 that I was going to do that, oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. If you can't even get, okay, and I'm sure you...
When I was 16, should I have been able to get access to Accutane? I worked with medical health professionals, my parents, and I decided to take Accutane at 16 years old. Should I have been allowed to do that?
If you needed it, yes, but you should also.
Okay. So wait, but Accutane obviously very, very much impacts my hormones. It can have long-term negative impacts in terms of side effects. Why are you saying I can make that type of determination, right? Specifically to help me in terms of acne.
Because that's an actual issue that you're.
Whoa, what do you mean an actual issue? How are you to determine what's an actual issue and what's not?
Because that is an actual issue that your body has, not you just feeling a certain way.
Oh, wait. So if doctors indicate that this is an actual issue that needs to be addressed in a certain way, right, then would it be the case that some people should be able to get access to it even at the age of 16? Like, I have acne, right? That's an issue that I need to address in terms of the anxiety that could create for me and the effect that I can have on my body. The same thing can be true specifically in plenty of other circumstances within other ways, right? That medical professionals can identify to indicate that it might be needed for people to have access to something. So again, who determines that it's most likely that they need access to this? It's gonna be the medical professionals.
Were you informed the side effects or the things that could go wrong when you got on Accutane?
Are you saying that I could be informed of them enough to make a consenting opinion?
About that, yes.
Okay, why specifically about that, but not, for example, HRT?
Because it doesn't irreversibly change your gender.
What do you mean okay, irreversibly change your, by the way, like what do you mean? But are you saying gender isn't, are you saying gender isn't, by the way, you don't think people going on HRT is changing their gender. It's gender affirming care, but it's not changing their gender.
It's changing their body chemistry a lot.
Yeah, no one's disputing that.
Body chemistry a lot.
So is Accutane.
It's taking away your acne and it has side effects like baldness.
Okay, wait, aren't those, some of those can be long-term and permanent? And also, I just want to let you know, like, there are reversible aspects of HRT as well.
Reversible aspects. There's also unreversible aspects of HRT.
Which parts?
Your voice.
Okay, just your voice? Is that the only thing you're knowledgeable about?
That's a very big one. Facial structure, voice.
So typically what
You
we
just said
see
two
here
things.
from like medical professionals is that for minors, like they don't typically recommend like masculinizing HRT or feminizing HRT, but they just simply recommend puberty blockers, which are fully reversible. Puberty blockers basically like offset or delay when your puberty starts or continues to progress until you're like 18, 19, 20 and have had some more time to kind of explore your gender identity and come to these conclusions as like a fully informed, matured adult. And that's typically, the decision that loads of therapists and medical health professionals will come to after years of deliberating for some like 16-year-olds, for instance. And I mean, I get it. I think it's fine. If it comes after like multiple consultations with therapists, multiple medical health professionals, years of investigation, and then these cohorts of doctors come to the conclusion that okay, we will grant you puberty blockers, which are fully reversible until you're an adult and know more about your gender identity. Just so if you only become more firm in the fact that you feel a disalignment between your gender identity and your phenotypical sex traits, then you can have a starting point where there's like less work to do, so you could phenotypically express yourself the way that you want to. I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't see the issue.
I'll say one more thing. Do you think that it's natural to want to do something like this?
When you say natural, are you saying like
Yeah, what do you mean by
nature?
natural?
I mean, do you think it is part of our nature to just want to do something like this? Do you think it's do you genuinely?
What do you mean by part of someone's nature? Like, what do you mean?
Do you genuinely
just
think
mean-
there are people on this earth that were born in the wrong gender?
Yeah. Wait, they're born in the wrong body, yes.
How can you provide me an ounce of proof? A single ounce
Trans
of proof
people
of that?
exist. That's your proof.
Yeah, like the existence of trans people in places not connected to one another across the globe, and 6 of our 7 continents where humans live, and the existence of trans people historically. That should on its own be enough evidence. I don't understand why
I
people don't
literally-
accept that as a data point.
had no clue that any of this shit existed until I got a phone.
So just because you didn't know something existed doesn't mean it didn't exist.
Right. Like, I didn't have any evidence of your existence before you joined this live. Did that mean that you
Yeah,
didn't
literally.
exist before you
Pick up
joined
my
this live?
phone and- Where are you right now? Where are you? What state are you in?
I'm in Colorado.
California.
I'm in Colorado, but you didn't have any evidence that I was from Colorado prior to me telling you that. That mean that before you asked me that question, it wasn't true that I was in Colorado?
A million people can pick up their phones and join your live and hear something from you that changes their mind. So of course, tons of people in other continents know about it because they all have phones. They're all picking up their phones. They're all.
Are you
learning
saying
about
that there's like social pressures that can lead individuals to like possibly think
Yes,
that
there.
they may be
Of course
trans?
there is.
Well,
Of course
you
there is.
you understand that that's why doctors and therapists work in conglomerate with one another for fucking years before making this decision for children, just to ensure that there's we're not just simply seeing the impact of potential social pressures, but like rather like the true expression of like one's existence. Also, I just don't know why somebody would like choose to be to exist as a member of one of the most oppressed groups of individuals alive. You know.
Because they're already unhappy. That is my answer. Because they are already unhappy and they want a change in their life. That is. There's many reasons. They might not even know it. That's genuinely how I view it. I don't. Do you understand how many people have HRT and then like years and years and years later realize they made a mistake and commit suicide?
Yes. So no. Don't do that. Hi, my name is Eli. I'm a 32-year-old trans man. Sorry, I'm just got up out of bed. I was chilling until I heard this guy. Anyways, yeah. So less than 1%, actually significantly. Trans people who go through medical transition actually have the highest success rate in medicine. It's considered like a medical anomaly how successful our medical transition is when you compare it to any other surgery out there. Less than 1% regret rate. And those that do end up detransitioning usually are doing it for safety reasons, or they're doing it for fucking maybe they lose access to their health care, which is something that I'm about to face because I'm about to be a veteran in a month after 13 years of active duty. Veterans use Medicaid. That's how we get our VA, like our disability. And so having access to my medical, my medicine may be a lot more difficult, you know? So of the people that detransition, regret it, it's not regret. It's simply that they don't have that access. And we find that later on in their life, they end up going back through that medical transition. So I would like for you to stop spreading misinformation about us.
So you're telling me there's not a large amount of people that commit suicide going through these things after a transition?
So what ends up happening? So what ends up happening is actually people like you come on the internet and say hateful shit about people like me, a human being, like real life. You're talking to a trans person right now. You talk about people like us, and then little kids in their houses listening to their parents, their phones, or maybe they're holding the phone right now.
What about what I said is hateful?
Hold on a second. Hear me out.
No, I want to know, what about what I said is hateful?
You're a lot of things that you literally said. The first thing you said, well, you have a huge problem with kids having access to medical care because you don't see it as medical care. A few seconds ago, before I even got up on the live, you said, do you really think that it's normal? You really think that you said that I never knew any of this shit existed until I had got on my phone or got on the internet.
Because I didn't.
Great, good for you.
Okay, and I don't have a problem with kids accessing medical care. I have a huge problem with kids accessing a bunch of chemicals they don't understand.
Did you learn anything from what Parker and Dean told you?
He didn't have any issue with me having access to Accutane. No issue with that. That's chemical. Is that not chemical?
Accutane is
Hormonal?
completely different.
What's the difference?
I'll be back.
All right, because Dean went through a very extensive process of telling you that kids are not typically starting hormone replacement therapy. They're going through puberty blockers. Like, so they get put on a completely reversible. And also you'll hear this rhetoric about puberty blockers chemically castrating people, which is at a high dose. Sure. But that's why these experts called doctors, like whole teams of doctors, make sure that they go through the lab process that we all have to go through to make sure that they're giving them the correct dose. And when given the proper dose, it's completely reversible. So they take them off the puberty blockers, which, for the record, non-trans kids are put on puberty blockers too. And it's life-saving in both cases.
Okay, my issue is not with trans people. My issue is with minors being put on this stuff. I do not think anyone...
Again, he didn't provide the distinction. I want to ask you again, Arctic, what is the distinction in terms of Accutane, right? In HRT, that means in one scenario, a 16-year-old should have access to it, given medical health professionals being involved. But in the other scenario, when medical health professionals are involved, they shouldn't have access to it.
Because Accutane is... For one, I actually do have really awful back acne, and I've thought about getting on it before. I decided not to in the end because it's only on my back, did not spread. But that has been a huge issue, and with them getting on my shirts and shit, like that's not.
Yeah, dude, it's an issue for you. Like I understand. I went through the exact same thing. That's exactly how it was for me, and that's not at all reason to say that other people shouldn't have access to it in those circumstances, right? So
Because
like again,
Accutane and acne is so far off from gender. Like
wait.
gender is your identity.
Can you
Acne
tell me
is not an
tell me
identity.
the specific distinction that you're saying is relevant?
Because
it's a certain way that my physical body presents that is producing anxiety for me, right? Where I need help, right, medically to go get help with doctors, right? And at 16 years old, I can make that type of determination. It has heavy effects on my hormones, some of which could literally be not reversible. Just want to clarify.
Because male and female is a lot different than having acne on your back.
Okay, but what in terms of taking HRT, what is the specific distinction that means it shouldn't be allowed in one scenario, but in the other scenario it should be allowed?
Because one has to do with gender and one has to do with acne.
Yeah, okay, but that's not a specifically relevant distinction. What about that is relevant?
You're asking me for a specific distinction about what? What scenario?
One you're saying is just affirming to your is gender affirming, and you're saying the other one is like affirming in terms of the way that your body looks, right? Both of them are in a reference to the way that your body looks, right? And one's just in reference to affirming your gender and identity yourself, and the other one's just in reference to like an identity in terms of how you're perceived socially. Technically, I don't see that as a relevant distinction.
Can I also add that gender affirming care is life saving?
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, Accutane is not going to be life-saving. It might be quality of life improving, but gender-affirming care is life-saving. The problem that I have with you is you're so concerned about kids, but you don't actually know enough information, because if you go on, I can cite trevorproject.org. You can go on right now and you can look up the statistics. If you're so worried about kids, you would want them to have access to gender-affirming care, because statistics show when they're given that care, they actually make it to adulthood. Whereas when they're not given that care, in many cases, they don't. Gender-affirming care saves lives, instead of the opposite claim that you made earlier, that it causes people to unalive.
When did you realize you were trans?
I knew I was a boy when I was 6.
You knew
I'm 32 years old. The first time that I remember, like I have a vivid memory of trying to tell my parents, like, I'm not a girl, was when I was 6 years old. And I was asking for boxers, because I didn't like the clothing articles that I was being given.
Okay, my girlfriend's sister cut her hair short, and
I didn't have short hair.
okay, that doesn't matter what you had, it matters what she had. My girlfriend's sister cut
Why are
her
you
hair-
talking to me like that?
Because it's I'm not talking about you.
No. Hold on. Just chill. Don't speak to me like that.
How am I speaking to you wrong? I'm not talking about your situation now. I'm talking about another person's situation. So if you could stop talking, I could finish my sentence.
I can stop talking. All I'm asking is for you to be respectful to me and not treat me like I'm smaller than you, because that's what you just did.
Okay, what did I
Carry on.
just say that was disrespectful?
Oh my God, just say what you're going to say.
Okay. My girlfriend's sister wore short hair and acted very, very tomboyish for a long time. She is also one of the really the most conservative people I know now, and that didn't change. That wasn't a thing. She was raised in a very, very conservative household. I don't really think that matters, though. I think it mainly matters of how she felt. She felt, and she hung out with more boys. She acted, I guess you could say, like a boy.
Okay.
Okay, and this also, why is it that when
Did she think she was a boy?
No, she did not think she was a boy.
Weird.
She did not think she was a boy.
Big difference, because I didn't.
Why is it that technology exploded, and when we have access to pretty much the
32
entire world
years
now,
old.
why did the amount of trans
How old are
people?
you? How old are you?
21.
Okay, so I'm 32. What is different about me than you is the fact that I didn't grow up with a smartphone. Right? I know that that's a fucking strange concept. I had this thing called dial-up internet. So like you couldn't be on the phone in the house and on the internet at the same time. I know it's kind of like a boomer concept, right? So I didn't have fucking access to just the internet at the palm of my hands. I grew up also in a Christian, actually Jehovah's Witness household. I was not exposed to the LGBTQ community whatsoever. The only thing I knew about GAY people was when it came up in Bible study about how they're bad, not allowed to be GAY. And I didn't even know trans people existed. All right. So that's like putting all that aside. You're talking about exposure to social media and all this shit. Trans people predate social media. Trans people predate literally they've been around for as long as society. Like we have always existed. Whether or not you knew about us doesn't fucking matter. Do you know at the beginning of World War II, the first people to get put into the fucking sea camps? Want to take a guess?
I'm waiting.
Trans people. Do you know the first medical institution to be burned to the ground? The center for studying medicine for trans people. All of our history was burned. And that's why it's easy to erase the history of people. It's easy to, make us monsters when there's so few of us, and when people repeatedly in history, like not all cultures though, it's just YT people mainly, because there's so many cultures that actually cherish and love trans people.
You just say it was mainly just white people?
Yeah, and I'm not saying. I'm saying that's factual. You can look this up. Look up different cultures and trans people. I know you probably won't, because I don't know that that's what you're going to choose to do with your free time.
I will not.
Yeah,
But
that's big shock.
would you say ever since the evolution of social media that there are more people that identify as trans now?
I would say that would be one maybe factor, and that would be because unlike me, who didn't have I actually made a post about this on my private like social media, because I've unfortunately been closeted for a really fucking long time. In fact, Parker and Dean both knew me before I came out as trans. Like they both have that history with me. I've known them for a fucking hot second. And I didn't get that opportunity. I knew I was trans when I would talk to them. I didn't have the representation. So a lot of kids nowadays, they do have the representation that I didn't have, and trans folks from my generation and the generations before me didn't have. So yeah, that could be one factor, is that now they have the representation, now they have the community, now they have that access to things that they deserve to have that access to. But it doesn't mean that.
Okay, well,
it doesn't mean that.
and again, I want to talk for a little bit now because I just let you talk for a straight 5 minutes. So I'm going to
finish this thought because you asked me a question. It doesn't mean that social media is making people trans. It just means that the access is there for them to see that, to have that community. That's it. Now, go for it. Somebody muted you. I don't know who it was, but
Is he gonna unmute? Hello? Arctic right there, huh?
Okay, am I back? Dean, did you know that you actually claimed earlier that you have never...
Shut the fuck up.
What are
You claimed that you've never done that.
what? What's up? What?
You against that one fucking... I'll agree, that dude was fucking insufferable. But against that one dude you kept muting because he kept saying you were interrupting him. And again, I just let you guys talk for a while. I tried to say one thing, and you just said you've never muted somebody in a live earlier to that guy. You said you don't do that.
Nope, never do that. That was me. I muted you multiple times. That was me.
Oh.
Arctic.
Are you talking about me saying that I've never muted anybody?
Yeah, Dean never has muted someone ever.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mute people a lot, but I think I'm going to say that I've never muted anybody ever because it's pretty funny because of how often I mute people. I don't know why I'm catching strays though. Have a conversation. I'm just sitting back in my.
But now I'm talking to 3 people. Now I'm talking to 3 people.
Dean has been silent the whole time. What do you mean?
You wrote me into the show.
Okay, I didn't know it was him. I don't know who's muting me, dude. I don't know who's muting me on the live. I just know I got
I literally
muted.
told him and he still doesn't know. Like, dude, this guy.
No,
dude.
I know it's you now. I didn't know.
Shut up. Yeah, so Arctic, again, I want you to give me like reason why you think that like Donald Trump is going to be better for like children's safety.
I genuinely want you to know. You guys are like joking and muting me. Like you.
Oh, I asked for a reason why like Donald Trump is better for children's safety. Dean's just letting me do this. Thank you, Dean. I really appreciate that.
I'm just like laughing. I'm not doing anything but laugh. I'll stay muted and laugh instead if it's hurting your feelings.
Yeah, Arctic, come back. Tell me.
kind of bullying.
It's
How
not
is Donald
it's
Trump
not
better
at
for
all.
children's safety?
You're really bullying him, Parker.
Good. How is
You
Donald
guys are
Trump better
just
for
mean.
children's safety? Are you going to answer the question?
Because he doesn't want HRT to be a thing.
Wait, is that it? No other reason?
Yeah, that's it. That's my
so
fucking
there's
opinion.
there's
because
no
I-
other reason. So everything
You know what?
else I
got
brought up in
30
terms
I
of him
got
being a
30
threat to
fucking seconds
to
talk.
children.
I got 30 fucking seconds to talk without you muting me. I'll give my genuine fucking opinion. I think that
Sorry, that one was just for fun. Go ahead.
Okay, if I was him, I'd be pretty fucking. I'd be bitter. I'd be pretty pissed off right now.
no, I'm not an asshole who's just gonna scream at you like an uneducated moron. Like I'm not going to do that because that's not who I am.
why are you trying to diss Dean? What the fuck?
I'm kind of on your
I mean,
side.
he
of-
screamed "shut the fuck up" at someone. Earlier.
I'm kind of like.
He screamed "shut the fuck up" at someone.
understand
earlier,
that, like,
and he's
I'm
the
like-
one who's running the live.
I'm like kind of on your side on this. Like, you shouldn't be doing that to you. I just don't care enough to like make him stop. but like I am kind of on your side. Like, I don't think Barker should be doing that to you.
I mean, I don't think you
like I
realize
said, I
we've
just
lost.
don't care enough to make him stop. But no, like I do actually disagree with that. I'm not even joking. I just don't
I
care.
think you
enough
realize
to-
the entire trajectory of this conversation is.
I don't have any powers to mute you, and I just thought it was funny because I've seen Parker do it before. So sorry.
Parker, you're a fucking joke compared to Charlie Kirk. Go fuck yourself.
You're so mad.
Because this is stupid.
No, to be fair. No, to be fair.
It's
Parker,
dumb. We're making zero progress
You're
at all.
totally rage baiting him. You're rage baiting this guy. to hell.
Good. I hope so. You can't answer my question.
Because we're
dude.
making zero progress.
I
And
asked
this
you a
entire
question.
live is
You
a
can't
joke.
answer the question. I asked you one question.
How can you say that we've made zero progress? You've been given so much
Okay.
information.
All right, let's clear it up. Everybody, we're gonna give him the mic. Take it away, Mr. SB.
Okay, I just gave you my opinion. I gave you your answer. My answer is I do not believe respectfully, and I don't mean to hurt anyone by saying this, but I do not believe trans people are natural. I do not believe it is a natural thing to do and change
What is
your body.
Is it natural for you to be on the phone talking to us right now? Is that natural?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is it natural to be on the phone right now talking to us?
Does it exist? It has nothing to do with
Does
our
it
body.
exist? Do
It's a
trans
fucking
people
phone.
exist?
It's a fucking phone.
Exactly.
It has
Is
nothing
it
to do with
natural?
our
Answer the
bodies.
question. Is it natural?
No, but I am.
So does that matter at all? Even if it wasn't natural to be trans under your view, does that mean
It's
anything?
not changing my
No,
body.
it doesn't
This
mean
is
shit.
like the
It means
actual
nothing.
dumbest point I've ever heard.
What do you mean?
I tried to keep this shit peaceful and like keep my cool, but you mute me 15 times, and then you ask if my phone is natural about trans
Yeah,
people. How
wait,
does
no.
that
So,
make
so
any
you're bringing
sense?
up you thinking being trans is not natural as a means to like demean being trans. And I'm saying
I think
there are
we were
lots of
born
things
how
that
we
you
were born.
consider. There are lots of things that you consider not natural, right? That you are totally okay with, that you have no issue with at all. So the idea of something being natural doesn't mean that you think it's wrong or right.
I don't think Okay, for one, I'm really, really into the gym, and I see shit on social media everywhere. And is it a temptation to go take anabolic steroids? Yes. Am I going to go do it? No, because it's not natural. It's wrong. I'm not supposed to be changing my body in that way. And there's a reason that it ages me fucking 10 years in like a
Is it
few
natural to get
cycles.
surgery?
No.
No. Okay, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. So again, just because something's natural doesn't mean it's wrong. That's all I'm trying to describe to you.
Okay. No, but when there's surgery, there's a medical issue. I'm sorry, when you're trans, there's not. There's not a medical issue.
Well, you're just wrong, actually.
So
Who identifies
a
that?
common like symptom of being trans. Like keep in mind, this is a symptom, a side effect, a byproduct of being trans. Is gender dysphoria. It can be in some circumstances, and that is absolutely something that has been examined by
Sorry, I was glitching. I just got back.
institutions of medicine and science is like, and is an agreed upon issue. Like gender dysphoria is like really fucking bad, dude. And can cause a whole lot of issues. So, yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's false that being trans doesn't exist in nature, because there are animals that we have seen. There's a specific fish specifically that will, if in an environment where fish, wow, that's a lot of noise, man. Does not have the opposite sex to mate with, that fish will transition its sex into the opposite in order to mate. So actually, being trans.
Respectfully, are you a fucking fish?
So what? No, at this particular moment, I wish I was, but yeah. So no, I'm not a fish. But what I'm trying to do is the other side of your appeal to nature fallacy that Parker went at it from one angle and I was going at it from another, essentially.
I can't believe he brought up that critique, because that was a critique to his original position and in saying, oh, this is natural. Oh, this is not natural. Oh, we don't compare ourselves to like what's existing in nature because it's not going to be determined of whether it's moral or immoral. Dude, this guy is lost. He has no clue what's going on.
Yeah. It would be easier to be a fish right now under the Trump administration, because then I wouldn't have to yet again. I've spent my entire life having to fucking like argue for not only my existence, but the existence of others. But yeah, if being trans was a choice, as proud of being trans as I am, like I am very fucking proud to be trans, because there's nothing wrong with being trans. But if it was a choice, why the fuck would anybody choose to be trans when it is exhausting?
Also, it's worth pointing out that when we look at trans men who are biological females and then trans women who are biological males, and we compare their neuroanatomy to the same sex and the opposite sex, we see a lot more correlation between the neuroanatomy of a trans man and males than trans man and females. There's a lot of sexual dimorphism in like the puttaments of our brains, for instance. And they're different shapes, different sizes, different neurotic densities, and different amounts of gray matter in different regions, dependent upon your sex. And, when we've looked at the brains of, maybe like a trans woman who's a male, we would expect, this trans woman to have the same brain as any other male because they're male, but they don't. Actually, their brain is closer to that of a female. So, I mean, it sounds like this whole time you've been, propping up like this theme that you think that being trans is unnatural. It's created by humans and social pressures and just wokeism in 2025. But even on the biological level, I mean, we very clearly see alignments between segments of one's biology, particularly their neuroanatomy, and the opposite sex if they're trans, which is interesting. Definitely very interesting, very, very, very interesting. And I feel as if the more that we learn about neuroanatomy and how our brains function and work, the more we'll see differences in the structures of our brains dependent upon our gender identities, etc. It's really interesting and definitely does lay the groundwork, or more so the foundation, for the idea that being trans is based in a biological reality.
I don't know what else to tell you. Again, can you guys hear me?
Like, would
No.
you say like differences in like the brain structures of like trans men who are females compared to cis women who are females is unnatural?
Can you hear me?
I can.
No.
Can you answer my question?
Hey, fuck off, Parker. I believe that I was born the way I was supposed to be born. I believe God made me, and I believe that I will find who I am supposed to be one day. But I don't.
Can you answer my
believe
question,
I'm
though?
supposed to be another. What?
Do you think that like the sexual dimorphism and the differences that we see in the brain structures of trans men who are females and cis women who are females, is that difference unnatural?
I believe it definitely could be. I guess more of it's like.
What?
I guess there's
How could differences in the neuroanatomy of individuals be unnatural? What?
Because there could be born. Okay. There's people born with physical deformities. Yes, somebody's brain could be unnatural. Yes, somebody's brain could be...
Wait. Even like a physical deformity is natural, but are you just now arguing that being trans is natural, just a deformity?
Yes.
So, see, that's why I'm not taking you too seriously. I feel like you're just taking the path of least resistance to try to like prove your bigotry right. Because this whole time you've been arguing that being trans is unnatural, and that's why it's wrong. But once I bring up differences in the neuroanatomy of like the typical trans man compared to that of the typical cis woman in relation to their own sex and of the opposite sex, you then just immediately concede and say that it is natural, but it's a deformity. It just feels like the whole pathway of least resistance to prove my bigotry.
I feel like what I'm respectfully trying to say, and I didn't really want to say it like this, is it's sort of a mental illness.
Well, oh, go ahead, Eli. I have a bunch of resources on that. I'll let you speak though. Take it away.
Yeah, and I know you will. I know you're about to pop off. I don't hear this said very often, and it's quick. Saying that it's not, and Dean's going to tell you all about how it's not. But I usually will say, okay, even if
I would love to continue this tomorrow. I've got maybe like 2 more minutes. My phone's on 8%, and I'm about to walk in the gym. That's all I got.
I actually got to go here pretty soon too to go hit the gym as well. So.
Well, okay, I just want to let you know that argument is based in eugenics, and that's what I wanted to speak on, because like it's frustrating hearing, one, being told that we're a mental illness when we're not. Two, that would insinuate that having a mental illness is a problem, and there are tons and tons and tons of people that have different mental illnesses like anxiety, depression, ADHD, like all sorts of mental illnesses, and there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness, and people who have disabilities, whether they're visible or not, are all like super valid, and there's nothing wrong with them. And tons, like there's 8,000 people listening right now. That makes those people feel really fucking small, not just trans people. And so trans people, people with disabilities, you're all valid. I love all of you, even if this guy doesn't. Right?
Okay, well, again, didn't interrupt you, but I never said there's anything wrong with having a mental illness. I just said it is a mental illness.
Well, you've been stigmatizing being trans this whole time, and now we learn it's because you think it's a mental illness. So stigmatization of mental illnesses is exactly what Eli was referring to. Understand your phone's on 2. A couple more things I want to say here. So being trans is not considered a mental illness by any reputable institution of medicine or science. We're looking at the WHO, the APA, and the DSM, the AMA, the ES, the WPATH, the BPS, the RCP, the CPA, the APS, the ESSM, the AAP, the AFP, the ACI, the APHA. These are like 13 massive reputable institutions in medicine or science. None of them consider being trans in of itself a mental illness. What is considered by like for the DSM, for instance, to be mental illness is going to be like gender dysphoria. But gender dysphoria in of itself is not being trans. It's just like a common a symptom of being trans. And the reason why gender dysphoria is considered a mental illness has to do with it causing perpetual and continued mental anguish, right? But there's like a shit ton of things that can cause, perpetuation and continued amount of mental anguish relating to one's affirmation of one's gender. Like for me, an instance, I'm fucking balding at 20. That puts me in a lot of mental anguish, and because of that, I'm on finasteride and minoxidil to help solve that, right? But like nobody takes an issue with that, societally speaking. You're like, base solving male pattern baldness is gonna have a full head of hair until he's old, super masculine, super rad, et cetera, right? And I think that, you need to recognize that right, being trans is not a mental illness for the reasons that I gave. And then even when we're having conversations about gender dysphoria, right, we shouldn't just automatically skip to stigmatizing gender dysphoria. We should say, how can we help individuals alleviate the burden of gender dysphoria and get into the science, get into the medicine? And well, what have a bunch of non-biased practitioners across this globe came to the conclusion of? The best way to treat gender dysphoria in so many circumstances is going to be HRT, is going to be sex reassignment surgeries. And we have the data to show that it reduces suicidality rates. We have the data to show that it increases average qualities of lives. When we just take a less non-bigoted approach to things, a pragmatic approach to things, and we test the scientific method, this is the conclusion. The conclusion is that affirming trans individuals' genders is productive not only for their own livelihood, but for society as a whole, and stigmatizing trans individuals' genders is just relating to your own lack of understanding of what it means to be trans or what that experience is like, and you're filling in that gap with prejudice the same way doctors did with gay people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the same way white people have done forever with black people. I mean, it's just, it's not productive. It has a terrible historical track record, so we should seek better solutions.
Okay, so basically all you just proved is my point of gender affirming care is basically just to make people feel better, not because they're actually a male or actually a female. It's just because it's going to save more people and make them feel better, right?
I'm confused with what you're saying. I think that you should probably first do research on senses of gender identity and what it means to be man or what it means to be woman. That's probably a good first step for you. I feel like a lot of people truly do confuse what a trans man means when they say that they're a man.
I'm a man.
They're depicting a sense of gender identity that exists as a societal as a function of society, a societal construct, and not in reference to the term male. And I mean, I feel like there's a validity to a description of gender that is purely social and not rooted within one's biology necessarily. In fact, you even uphold a sense of gender identity in the same sense. You said earlier that you're a Christian and that you're made in God's image. You think that God the Father is a man. God the Father has not and does not have a penis or XY chromosomes, yet he's a man.
I think God the Father is God the Father. I don't think God the Father is a man. We just call him God
He's not the man. So I have a question. Jesus was a man when he was alive, right?
Say it again?
Jesus was a man when he was alive, right?
Yes.
But Jesus existed prior to incarnation, right?
Yes.
Was Jesus a man prior to incarnation?
No, he's divine prior to
so he went from
incarnation.
being a non-man to a man?
No, he went from being divine to being human, just like the rest of us.
Well, I mean, actually, it wasn't going from being divine to human. I was going from being divine to divine plus human. You should probably read your own theology, but I basically just want to come to a common understanding here. Was he man prior to in conception, or did he start off as a non-man and then he became a man?
He started off as divine.
So divine, is that a man or not a man?
Among us. It doesn't have a gender.
Okay,
it's
so
not man.
It's a non-man. It's a non-man can either describe somebody that has a gender that's not a man or somebody that doesn't have a gender. Like non-binary people, they don't have a gender. They're non-men. And that would be true as reference to a category. So he didn't have a gender. He was a non-man.
Do you want to hear the difference?
Non-man to man, right?
You're not God. We are not divine, so we don't get to identify as no gender. We get to identify as man or woman because that is how we were born.
So only if you're God can you do that.
Need a study. Say it again.
Only if you're God can you do that.
Yes.
So only so you're basically saying that only the most perfect thing that exists in this world with nothing else, even comparing to it in perfection, can identify as non-binary or trans. I mean, I think that you are now advocating
never
for trans
said
or non-binary
non-binary or trans.
supremacy. I mean,
the
it's
concept
truly
of gender does not apply to him. I never said non-binary or trans.
Yeah, the only perfect entity in existence doesn't uphold a concept of gender that relates to biological reality. Interesting.
Here, can I actually ask him a question too? Like, have you ever heard of Freaky Friday?
No.
Okay, do you know the idea of like consciousness swapping bodies? Can you understand that idea?
Okay, no, I think I know what you're talking about. But
Like if your brain and consciousness swapped bodies.
I'm actually sorry,
with-
Parker. I just want to give you a heads up. If you could keep the argument shorter, because I gotta really hop off. I'm like literally like an hour and a half over. I just thought I'd let you know, but continue.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just try to keep it shorter. Don't worry. Would it make sense to still call you a man, right? If it is the case that you and your mom swapped bodies, if you were inside of your mom's body, would it make sense for me to call you a man?
that doesn't apply. That's not going to happen. That doesn't exist. That makes zero sense and has nothing to do with this argument.
So he can't engage with the hypothetical. Well, we'll just let Dean go.
Because it's impossible. It's not a thing.
No, it's not. What's the contradiction?
What do you mean?
What's the contradiction with their consciousness swapping
This is
bodies?
genuinely the
He's
argument
essentially
that
saying
we're trying
Freaky
to make.
Friday
This
as a
is the
movie
best
doesn't
argument.
exist.
If
He's saying Freaky Friday as a movie is not possible.
If Freaky Friday is the best argument you can make towards trans people, that's kind of pathetic. Like it genuinely.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic that you can't actually understand that consciousness swapping bodies, right, is actually like a
you're arguing
completely
trans
consistent
people,
logically idea. It's
That doesn't
logically
happen.
consistent.
No, consciousness swapping.
Wait, I'm not saying
bodies.
it. I'm not saying it does happen within reality. I'm saying it's logically possible insofar as that I could demonstrate a concept from this.
Of course. I got my access to multi-guess banned. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. That is terrible. I hope that I get the appeal approved because, you know, this is my second account.